insurrection and the eventual assassination of the Smith brothers. This plot, according to Marinus Eaton, included the Fosters, the Higbees, and the Wilson and William Laws. And this is in March of 1844. The Smith brothers were assassinated June 27th, 1844. So 3 months in advance time, the Smith brothers knew of this insurrection that was being planned between the Carthage conspirators and the Nauvoo conspirators, which included these Expositors newspaper. Now, have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard that the conspirators who owned the Expositor newspaper were in secret combination to assassinate the Smith brothers and cause an insurrection 3 months before Joseph Smith and the city council claimed that the Expositor was a nuisance? Well, of course the Expositor was a nuisance because it was planning a violent insurrection. So this is part of the trial against Robert Foster, Chauncey and Joseph H. Jackson, William and Wilson Law. President Joseph Smith addressed the people.
So while I read it, I want you to ask yourself, what was the motivation for the Utah Mormon Church to conceal or bury this testimony of Joseph Smith for over 100 years? And what is the motivation for the Utah Mormon Church to somehow paint the Law brothers as being noble because they were against polygamy, when in fact you will see in the June 8th and June 10th trial on the Nauvoo Expositor that the Law brothers were completely notorious womanizers, that William Law had seduced a 16-year-old orphan girl, and that was the reason for his excommunication. I am just grateful that we have Joseph Smith to tell us exactly what was going on in Nauvoo and who these nefarious conspirators were. They were the noble Mormon insiders. No, not the William Sharps from Warsaw, which the Mormon Church has tried to blame, but they were the Mormon insiders who convicted, who plotted, and finally assassinated Joseph Smith, just as the Mormon hierarchy had done in Missouri. Joseph Smith's main enemies were and have always been these infiltrators, these Mormon infiltrators that turned against him and coveted probably his leadership ability, but also were pro-Southern, pro-slavery, just as Brigham Young took out the Utah Mormons and turned Utah into a slave state. Total opposite of Joseph Smith's Nauvoo, which was on, by the way, he was anti-slavery, invited black Mormons to join the priesthood, and yes, was probably one of the ports on the Underground Railroad, just above Keokuk and Quincy, both ports on the Underground Railroad, going up the Mississippi to Ohio to free the fugitive slaves who were improperly kidnapped and enslaved. These were free black and Native Americans who, just by the virtue of the color of their skin, were being kidnapped and enslaved in the South. So let's say, I've been informed by two gentlemen that a conspiracy exists in Nauvoo that's got up in a place of purpose of taking the life of President Joseph Smith and his family, and all the Smith family and the heads of the church. One of the gentlemen will give his name to the public, and the other wishes to be hid at present. They will both testify to it in oath and make an affidavit upon it. The names of the persons revealed at the head of this conspiracy are as follows: Chauncey Higbee, Dr. Robert D. Foster, and Joseph F. Jackson, William Law, and William Wilson Law. And the lies that Chauncey Higbee has hatched up a foundation of work upon are, he says that I had men's heads cut off in Missouri. This is Joseph Smith speaking. That Higbee said he had heads cut off of men in Missouri, and that I had a sword run through the hearts of the people that I wanted to kill and put out of the way. I won't swear out a warrant against them, for I don't fear any of them.
they would not scare off an old sitting hen. I intend to publish all of their iniquity that I know of them. If I am guilty, I am ready to bear it. There is sometimes honor among enemies. I am willing to do anything for the good of the people. I will give the name of the one of the gentlemen who has divulged the plot. His name is Marinus G. Eaton. He will swear to it. He is a bold fellow. Joseph H. Jackson said Smith should not be alive in 2 months' time. That is, Joseph Smith will not be alive in 2 months' time, in 2 weeks, not over 2 months now. Concerning the character of these men, I will say nothing about it now, but I hear anything more from them on this subject, I will tell you what I know.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was Joseph Smith speaking to us from the grave. Let us all remember that Joseph Smith's words are precious and that he was an eyewitness